You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
Welcome to the Hot Options Report, your premier source for insight into the fast-moving options market. Each day, we'll track down the products that are dominating the options chains and impacting your trading account, from Nvidia to VIX and everything in between. If it's lighting up the options tape, then you'll find it on the Hot Options Report.
All right, everybody, welcome to your Hot Options Report for Monday, February 23rd. Things are starting off spicy. Should be a good one. My name, of course, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Radio Network, your home for your favorite options podcasts. And, of course, if you want to check out the pro, check out Vol Deathmatch, all that good stuff, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. And no matter what you're doing in the world of options, you should be checking out our friends over there at thehotoptionsreport.com. Kick the tires and light the fire. Some of the best data in the biz. Thehotoptionsreport.com. All right, it was a spicy day in the market. Did that translate into a lot of volume on the options front today? The answer was no. Only cost you 413,000 contracts to break into the top 10 today. Another one of those days, listeners, it seems like all eyes were glued to the macro, to the indexes, not as much on the single names. Nonetheless, number 10 gets us to our old pal Meta. Meta selling off $18.41 or 2.8% to close 637.25 today, listeners, putting up 413,000 contracts for the number 10 spot on our countdown today, the hot option in Meta land. We have these 6.5 puts, 650 puts, which were out of the money earlier today. We got as high as looks like 663 at one point today, but 650 puts going up 16,700 times for $9.47. Looks like paper was probably buying those, but there was a decent amount of flow there. Either way, listeners, right now you certainly want to be a buyer of those because those are looking pretty good. They're obviously worth far more than that after the closing bell. As we keep climbing to number 9, is Netflix worth more now than it was after the closing bell, let's say on Friday? The answer was no. It sold off another $2.65 or 3.3% to close $76 pretty much exactly, putting up 456,000 contracts for the number 9 spot on our countdown today. The hot option in Netflix, almost 21,000 of the 80 calls expiring on Friday. Average price for these 34 cents. Looks like somebody might be taking a flyer. This was opening paper. Can we get back to the 80 handle by Friday? The high today was 77.83. So $4 might seem like a long way to go when this stock has been struggling to get out of its own way, but maybe you like that for a little bit of a nibble, listeners, as we keep climbing to the number 8 spot. It's a day that ends in Y. That means Alphabet's going to be on our list again. Selling off $3.50 today, a little over 1% to close $311.49, putting up 461,000 contracts for the number 8 spot on our countdown today. The hot option in Alphabet Class A, 42,000 of the 320s. These are expiring today, listeners. Average price for these 44 cents. Obviously, these went out far out of the money. So you'd much rather be a seller of these. And it looks like that's what was going on. It looks like paper was overwriting these. The high today was $319.52. So they were within spitting distance at one point very early in the session. I say very early. If you sold these, you pretty much look good right from the jump. So hopefully someone sold these. If you bought these and you rode them through the close, a little bit of an ouchie there. But at the end of the day, you only dropped 44 cents. As we keep climbing to number 7, listeners, was our number 7 name climbing or were they dropping? This was J&J. They climbed $3.35 to close $245.84, putting up 466,000 contracts for the number 7 spot. This is our token div play of the day. Their hot option 280,000 of the March 210s. Interesting choice, going a little bit far out for a div play. Nonetheless, that was your hot option in J&J. Let's keep climbing to a non-div play, shall we? To number 6, to our old pal Palantir. Another one, day that ends in Y. Good chance Palantir is going to be in our top 10. Today comes in number 6, selling off $4.64, or almost 3.5% to close $130.60, putting up 593,000 contracts for the number 6 spot on our countdown today. The hot option in Palantir today, 20,000 of the 125 puts. Looks like paper was blasting away at these for $2.05. This was an opening trade. The low was 127.39, so you were definitely sweating these a little bit more earlier in the session than you were at the end. But either way, these are expiring on Friday, so we shall see if we can threaten that strike again, listeners. By the way, I should clarify, the paper in Alphabet and in Meta, all of that was in the new weeklies that were expiring today. As we keep climbing to the number 5 spot, it's Amazon. You know, this flow is going to be going up in the new weeklies as well. Amazon closing today, 205.27, off $4.84, or 2.3%, putting up 884,000 contracts for the number 5 spot on our countdown today. So quite a jump between 6 and 5 today. The hot option in the Amazonians today, 75,000 of the 205 calls, again, expiring today. Average price for these, 44 cents. Obviously, they went out worth 27 cents. So the right trade, if you rode them through the close, was to sell them. Even then, not a huge winner out there, listeners. It looks like that's what paper was doing. Let's keep climbing to the number 4 spot out there today, listeners. The fruit company, aka Apple, they're saying sell off. What sell off? Apple rallying $1.60, or 0.6% to close 266.18, keeping this wild year going for Apple. They're up, they're down, they're doing their own thing most sessions, listeners. Today, putting up 1.08 million contracts for the number 4 spot in our countdown today, listeners. The hot option in Apple, 119,000 of the 267 halves. Average price for these, 57 cents. Looks like paper was nibbling on these. It was an opening trade. The high intraday was 269.43, so these were looking pretty good. So let's hope if they bought them, they got the heck out of Dodge for a pretty significant winner. If they rode them through the close, obviously not a great trade. These were expiring today, so the clock was ticking on these. As we keep climbing to the number 3 spot, good old Mr. Softy, another day that ends in Y, another blood red session, selling off $12.76, or 3.2%, to close 384.47, listeners. Just a rough run for Microsoft. This puts them down 18.7% now year to date, or nearly 90 handles. They put up 1.08 million contracts today, so a pretty active day in Mr. Softy. The hot option out there today, 37,000 of the 390s, again, expiring today. Obviously, if you bought these, not a great trade. You had a moment right out of the gate where you maybe could have made something happen with these, but that was pretty much all she wrote. We never threatened a 390 handle again. Obviously, the right way to go was selling these, and it looks like that's what paper was doing for about 70 cents. As we keep climbing to the number 2 spot, listeners, Nvidia. Yes, Nvidia falling to number 2 today, rallying 191.64, up $1.82, or about 1%. So a decent day. Nvidia also saying sell off. What sell off out here on the street today? Putting up 2.55 million contracts for the number 2 spot in our top 10 today. The hot option in Nvidia. These numbers are starting to get fairly large, listeners. Over 250,000, 274,000 of the 192 half calls expiring today. Average price for these about 47 cents. Once again, if you bought these, not a great trade. You had some moments, though. You got as high as almost 194 early in the session. So you had some opportunities, obviously, to get the heck out of these. Looks like later on in the session, you definitely want to be a seller of these. And it seems like that's what paper was. For the most part, for, again, 46, 47 cents. Either way, you had to sweat a little bit, but you could have made it work. As we keep climbing to the number 1 spot on our countdown today, if it's not Nvidia, it's got to be Tesla. Tesla taking it on the chin today, off $12 or nearly 3% to close 399.83 listeners, putting up 2.75 million contracts. For the number one spot on our countdown today, the hot option, you could probably guess we're hanging out around the par strike. You could probably guess it's probably the pars, and that was the case. 123,000 of the par calls, but not expiring on Wednesday or on Friday, expiring today. So if you paid anything for these and rode them through the close, not a great trade. The average price for these was 98 cents. Looks like paper was primarily selling these, though. So again, you're a courageous soul to step into the fire and sell anything on Tesla, especially for 98 cents. But it looks like that was the right trade. If you did that, you had to sweat. Especially towards the end of the session, we had a little bit of a rally in Tesla, but not quite enough to get us over the hump. You kept your full 98 cents, but man, you did sweat for it, listeners. And that is going to do it for your hot options report today. Back again tomorrow on the network, listeners. We're going across the pond to the Eurozone, see what's lighting it up on the European market brief. Should be a wild time. And then we're back with our buddy, the man who creates all the data for this show, our good buddy, Mr. Nick Howard. Should be a good time there as well. So if you like the hot options report, you should be checking out the Pro tomorrow, theoptionsinsider.com/pro. Then we're back again after the closing bell, another episode of the hot options report. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.